Only Christ Redeems, OCR, Charlie here. So just wanted to give you a quick update. I did my marathon like a month and a half ago. My goal is to break 3 hours and 10 minutes. Unfortunately, I did like 3 hours, 20 minutes and half. So broke 3:21, which is okay. I kind of blew up there after about 16 miles. I think I realized that I needed to practice more of my longer runs, and also I think I need to do more hard long runs, and I didn't do enough of those. So in this episode, I just wanted to talk a little bit about kind of what the name, where the name comes from for this channel, and a little bit about kind of what to expect if you've never done a Spartan race before. So the name Only Christ Redeems comes from obviously the OCR, and so I was thinking of a good acronym for that, and that's kind of what I came up with. So in case you don't know what that means, is that when it says redeems, that basically means that everybody has sinned in their life. I've sinned, everybody has sinned, and so there needs to be some sort of a payment for that. So the way that God keeps everything just is that he needed to have somebody pay the price for the sin. So either you can pay the price for your own sin, or you can accept Christ's payment for you. So that's why Christ went to the cross, was to pay the price for your sins. So that way there is justice in the world. There are other religions that say that God can just ignore sin and just not deal with it. It's kind of like this. If somebody, if you were to steal somebody's car and total it, and let's say it's $100,000, really nice car, and you don't have the money to pay for it, and then the judge goes, you know what? I'm a gracious judge, so I'm just gonna just gonna forgive you. Then the owner of the car might be like, well, my car's still totaled. Somebody needs to pay for this. And so a just judge would have some sort of way to have that paid for. So in Christianity, the metaphor would be that the judge actually takes his own money and pays the price for the car. So if the judge were to do that, then everything would be balanced. The car that was totaled got paid for. And in other religions that say where God can just forgive the sin without dealing with the balancing, then you still have kind of an unjust imbalance going on. So that's what it means when it says only Christ redeems. So he was the only one that was good enough, only person that was sinless, that actually is good enough to pay the price and redeem us from our sins. So that's where the saying comes from. All right, so some advice for your first Spartan race. So first thing I want to say is if you've never done a Spartan race and you're signed up, this is kind of what I want to tell you about. So there's kind of two types of people. There's the one type of person who they've never done a Spartan race and they're not really in shape. They've never ran much recently or anything like that. So if that's one type of person, they just want to survive. And then the other type of person is somebody who maybe is in shape, they do run, and they actually want to do well. So if you're that first type of person, first thing I want to say is that the most important thing that you want to focus on training for, so like let's say you got like a few weeks or a few months, is just to be able to get through the obstacles. So I would suggest the main focus of your training should be on obstacle proficiency, so maybe grip strength, upper body strength, pull-ups, working on that. If you can't do a pull-up, then you can always do other things. Like one thing you could do is kind of go downwards slowly and just try to go as slow as you can as you go down. Maybe work on some dead hanging, either straight arm dead hang or bent arm hanging. And then just try to get good at doing the obstacles. Don't really worry about the running too much, although you should probably practice a little bit of running just so you have that endurance, but your main focus should probably be on grip strength, just so you can get through the obstacles. They say you're supposed to do 30 burpees, but if you do an open wave, nobody's going to really count your burpees, so you can kind of get by that. I do open with my wife sometimes, and I've noticed a lot of people do not do their 30 burpees. I'd say maybe 20% actually do 30 burpees when they feel an obstacle, And of those 20%, I'd probably say like 3/4 of them aren't really doing the burpees properly. They're either not letting their chest hit the ground, which is the most common. They'll just like stick their feet out and then get back up and then do a burpee. Technically, your chest is supposed to hit the ground, but like I said, if you're doing open, nobody really cares that much. If you're in the second camp and you actually want to do well, I would just say that the top guys, like I remember when I was training for my first Spartan race and I was watching those videos and I was like, oh, I could do that. I could beat those guys. And one thing I didn't realize is that a lot of the top guys can run 4.5-minute miles. And if they do 5Ks, they can do like 15-minute 5Ks, maybe some of the top guys. Some are maybe just under like 16 minutes for their 5Ks. So if you can run that fast and you can do the obstacles, then you might have a chance. But another thing that they're really good at is doing the obstacles, doing 30 burpees, and then getting back to running really fast again. So like somebody might be a really good runner, but maybe if they do 30 burpees, they can't really run very fast after that. Whereas the pro elite Spartan guys, they can do that really well. They can do 30 burpees and then pick up and run really fast again. And so that is actually a big thing for them. And they can also run up hills and mountains really well. So just have some realistic expectations. And I think that was a little of a check for me when I first did it. So I'm a better runner now than when I first started, and I'm still nowhere near the top elite guys. I'm not even really that close to being one of the top age group guys yet. So, like I said, my marathon was 3:20, which I think I could break a 3:10, possibly getting close to a 3-hour marathon. Half marathon, my best is like 1 hour and 32 minutes, around there. And so I'm an okay runner, but I'm not anywhere near those top guys, the elite guys, or even the age group guys. Some of those top age group guys, they can run sub 5-minute miles. They can run 16, 17-minute 5Ks. They can run half marathons in like 1:25, possibly faster. So just have realistic expectations. And just knowing that some of the obstacles are a little harder than they look. Olympus is one of those that's a lot harder than it looks, especially with the new material they have on there. The spear throw is probably a good thing to kind of practice. Rope climb, once you got that foot technique, it's actually not that difficult. But if you don't have the foot technique, then you might want to work on that. The tire flip, the 400-pound tire for the guys, that is tough. And the toughest thing is getting your fingers underneath it. So I've actually learned how to do it without getting my fingers underneath it, which is helpful. But just realizing that that is a heavy tire and it is tough. Some of the other ones that are more difficult than they look. Let's see, the Stairway to Sparta in the Super, the way they have it now, isn't too bad. It's basically a wall that you jump up, but a lot of people cramp up, especially at the end of a race, if you have any sort of wall. So Stairway to Sparta, I see a lot of people cramp up on, and just 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot walls if they're toward the end. But if you're doing a beast, Stairway to Sparta has those rock climbing grips at the beginning, and that is really tough. So just be prepared for that. And then Hercules hoist is one of those that I struggle with. I think because I'm more of a lighter guy, more of a runner, not a strength guy. But the Hercules hoist, it's heavier than it looks, and it's just weird getting that technique down, especially if it's at the end of the race, which seems like 90% of the time they have that at the end of the race, and you're already tired. So I actually bought these gloves. These are like football gloves, wide receiver gloves, and these actually help a lot. Because one of the problems with the Hercules hoist is the rope, if your grip strength is dead, it's hard to like hold the rope hard enough and it starts like slipping through. So having gloves can help. The tough thing though is that if you do have gloves, then you got to keep them with you the whole time. You can't just throw them off to the side. You got to keep them with you, and that can be a challenge. And yeah, so the idea with cramping, like my first Spartan race, I cramped up pretty bad. And I think the reason why was because I don't think I practiced enough of the running endurance and then also like doing like jumping and carrying heavy things. So like doing a bucket carry, especially uphill, that can work your calf muscles. Running works your calf muscles, and then any sort of wall you have to jump over, that'll work your calf muscles. And so I cramped up, I think, just because I hadn't practiced that enough. So one thing you might want to do to practice is go for like a 2, 3, 4 hour run and then break it up and do some heavy carries in the middle, do some jumping, like jumping up to something. So even if you have monkey bars, just jump up to the monkey bars. So maybe if they're low, you can start from the side of the monkey bars and jump like a few feet away and jump up to it and grab it. But that affects a lot of people. A lot of people cramp up on the walls at the end of a race. Also try to stay hydrated. I always hear different things about hydration, like staying hydrated prevents cramps. Electrolytes prevents cramps, but in my opinion, it seems to be just conditioning seems to be the most important thing. Just having the endurance, putting your muscles through the race type situations as much as you can. All right, so that is my advice for you for your first Spartan race. Good luck. And hopefully Spartan races will be starting up again, because we're in March of 2020, and right now the COVID-19 virus is going around, so everything is shut down. And hopefully things will be back to normal in a few months. They got the Palmerton race I'm looking forward to, the Stadium race in Phoenix I'm looking forward to, Utah Beast looking forward to. This is my first year getting a season pass, and Spartan has said that they're going to do something for the season pass holders, so hopefully they'll do something. Got my hat right here. So hopefully they'll give us some sort of a discount or something like that for next year or something. I don't know. Well, this is Charlie signing off. Have yourself a good day.